should see my screen
Come-
too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Embarrassingly enough, I have six screens.
I downgraded to three because I actually could feel
Yeah.
like the radiation and the heat coming off all six of them.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so I just want to do a little talk about Heikin Ashi candles. And these are a variation of our normal candlestick. And just quick review, like we take one of these daily bars on SPY. This one has a little body. The bottom of it is the um, closing price. The top is the opening price. It's red because the closing price is below the opening price. It's got some wicks on it showing the high and low of the day. So pretty straightforward with normal candles and very similar on what you see called OHLC charts, which not a candle, but it's just a bar that shows the same thing with open, close, high and low. So there is an alternative called a Heikin Ashi candle. And in Japanese, this means an average bar. And that's exactly what they are. They are averaged candlesticks. So here I have side by side. The one on the left here is normal candles. The one on the right is the Heikin Ashi candles. And just a little bit of differences in how they are constructed. You will notice that each subsequent candle, the open price is exactly the midpoint of the previous body. And that's because it's taking the high and low of the open and close of the previous candle, divide by two, and it's an average. And the closing price on the candle is the open, high, low, and close divided by four. So it's an average of the whole candle. We don't have to go further down that rat hole. We don't need to know what's under the hood here of how this is calculated. Much more importantly, we need to know if and when and how to use these. So just if you look back a little bit from a little bit of distance, you see here's our normal candles on SPY, right? It's been in an uptrend. Here's back in end of May. And it's been in a general trend, but there's some red candles that pop up in here and introduce some noise. And when we use the Heikin Ashi candles over on this side, we see a lot of that noise gets filtered out. So this can be helpful to help us identify, are we still in a trend or is the trend changing? And I'll go through a couple quick examples here, and you can use this on any time frame. But here is like the GDX chart. This is daily candles again, regular on the left, Heikin Ashi on the right. We do see when it's just going sideways, like a lot of indicators like the RSI and things like that, stochastics will work in a sideways market pretty well, but not so much in a trend. Well, Heikin Ashi over here doesn't really tell us a whole lot in that sideways kind of price action. But if we look at the part that's in a strong trend, this can help us identify, are we continuing to be in that trend? And so, this had a breakout, had a pause, a little bit of a bull flag because it broke out to the upside here. We did get some red in the Heikin Ashi candle, so this might have been a good point to take some profit or at least a little pause here. Then, you see this breakout. The trend is back on. It's resuming, breaking out to the upside with that bull flag. And we see nothing but green candles here on the Heikin Ashi chart until we get up here to about the peak. And I think right around here on the 16th, this is when we got out of the gold discretionary trade. I did it with GTX, and that was a good time to take a first profit target. But over here, we see clear indication that we're in a trend. The noise is filtered out very nicely. Over here, we've got some red candles showing up. You might see a red candle like that. If you don't know what's coming the next day, you might think, oh, I'm going to chicken out. I'm not going to take a risk that the trend is changing. And so that's how we can use Heikin Ashi to give us some kind of confirmation, a little second opinion on whether the trend is still intact or not. Um, it, if we look at some shorter time frames, here's GDX on intraday. These are 3-minute candles. So GDX is pretty hot today out of the gate. in this uptrend, if for example, you bought here in the morning and you start to see these red candles here, you might think, okay, it's getting ready to cool off and turn back down. And again, you see red candles, red candles, red candles. Well, over here on the Heikin Ashi, we see nothing but green until we get all the way up here. It takes its first little pause. So if you were in down here, you might want to use a tool like this to help you decide, okay, now we're starting to see some red candles on the Heikin Ashi. Maybe I take my first profit here and watch it from there. And then this turned out to be just a little rest, a little bull flag, and broke out to the upside. And you might say, okay, I'm going to either ride the rest of my position up until I see the next batch of red, or maybe even add to a position, something like that. And even though we're looking at 3-minute candles, it works on all time frames just the same. You can apply the same type of logic. So when to use them? Well, when there's a trend, for sure, because we saw that when things were going sideways, it really didn't tell us a lot. Another thing to note is that you can't go by the price on the candle. So here's the closing price on the candle. Over here on the GDX chart, Heikin Ashi side, it says 71.72. Well, over here it says 71.70. 71.70 is the real price. So it's important to use these in conjunction with regular candles. You don't want to just say, I'm going to use Heikin Ashi candles and that's all I do. No, it is a tool that you can pull out of the toolbox, but you need to use it in conjunction with normal candles to make decisions. They do lag a little bit. And because of this price difference, this is a small one. Some of these have bigger price difference between the two candlestick type charts. But here's another one. So this nano nuclear energy, this is one of those small nuclear reactor companies, has no revenue, but they're a hot ticket right now. Same thing. If you bought down here a couple times, red candles on the way on the regular chart, but here you had green candles all the way. You could have stayed in that trend longer on something like that. But look at the price over here. It says the last candle closed at 45.81. Well, that's not the real price. The real price over here, 45.78, is what it actually closed at. So
It's really interesting stuff. I've never used them, and there's all kinds of different ones, but I liked especially on the 3-minute chart because I connect with the 3-minute chart. And
yeah,
I don't know, people who day trade, like I love how it goes all on the however you pronounce it, the Heikin Ashi, like how it
yeah,
stays all green. Because
yeah,
in the mornings with if you're a day trader, there's certain turning points in the day. After 9:45 is when there's key turning points. After 9:45 is when you start to get like a solid trend, and
yeah. A
10:30 is
more
like
realistic.
reversal,
Yeah.
11,
Hmm.
11:30, and 12 you should be done and out of the markets, if not
Yeah.
at 11:30. But I love this idea. I'm gonna have to look into it because it's nice just to follow it green. And if you get a red bar or however you want to manage it, using the two time the real chart and the how do you pronounce it? Heikin Ashi?
Heikin Ashi, yes, the
Yeah.
Japanese term for average.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I find that really, really interesting. It really takes a lot of the noise, the visuals out to stress. Because when you see on the left-hand chart, the red around 10 o'clock, that's
Yeah.
enough to make you panic. But when you look at the other one, you're like, no, this is just
Not yet.
this is a
Yeah. You
pause
can
within
press
an
the bed a
uptrend.
little bit there. Yeah, exactly. So,
And I didn't realize the pricing was different on those. I bet you a lot of people don't realize what's going on. So
yeah.
I
So
think
that's
that's a
why you
key
can't
point.
trade just off the Heikin Ashi chart because it lags and the price is different.
Yeah, I would have
But
never known that. I've never used
yeah.
it, but I'll have to
Yeah.
look into this now. That's
But
cool.
if swing trading, longer term trading, day trading is an example with day trading. You can look at this with 1 minute, 2 minute, 3 minute, 5 minute charts, and you will, as you go out and longer duration on your bars, you'll see more of the noise gets filtered out. And so, if you use Heikin Ashi intraday day trading at 1 minute, you're going to see more red candles show up in the Heikin Ashi. So I like to back out a little bit. I use a lot of 2 and 3 minute charts, confirm it
Uh-huh.
with the 5 and even a 15-minute chart. But right around 2 to 3 minutes seems to be a pretty sweet spot for filtering out that noise. 1 minute is just way too close. So,
Yeah, right.
but anyway, so that's how I use them. Not a primary tool; they're kind of an auxiliary tool in my mind, and you got to use them correctly. So,
Somebody
uh,
somebody asked Brian about using those with Do you ever use a moving average on that type of chart?
Yeah. So moving averages are a great complement to a Heikin Ashi chart.
I bet. Yeah.
That so those classic way to do trend following is with the moving averages, and pick which ones you want, pick how many, look for crossovers, look for distance between them. If they're nice and parallel, you got a lot of space between multiple moving averages going up. That's a good trend continuation signal. But when you see shorter term moving averages rolling over, it's like, okay, we might have a trend change cooking here. So,
Yeah.
but
Right.
anyway, that's my take on this. Useful tool, just don't misuse it.
Right. Yeah, somebody was asking if you can use it still to read bolt like chart patterns. It looks like you can. It's just different colored candles, really.
Yeah, you kind of can. I don't rely on it so much for patterns itself. I defer to the actual candle chart, no matter what time frame I'm in. But it's just nice to have a lot of that noise filtered out for you, because the market's full of zigs and zags. It's designed to take our money. It's designed to shake us out of trades, and this can be a good tool to keep us in or let us know when to get out.
Right. Okay. All right. Well, sounds good. Well, there's the new way to read charts and plot stuff. So somebody was just asking there, Brian, I'll show it on my screen. They were wondering
Yeah,
how do you change candles in here? So I'm just going to show people how we do it. Every charting platform will be different. For us, we just right click, edit
yeah.
chart, and let's just
I think you need to right click on a candle,
yeah.
actually. Yeah.
Yeah, if you right click
Redo
anywhere in
that
the
if you would. Right click on a candle if you would.
yeah, select
Yeah.
the symbol and then more or less
Oh,
chart
there you
type.
go. Yeah, you can do it there too. Okay.
You
So
can
Heikin
see
Ashi is
all
right out there on the list. Yeah, there
yeah,
you go. Yeah. So there's multiple ways to do it within the same platform.
yeah.